Our adventure began with the day going to Blue Spring State Park for a day trip.
As we pulled into the springs, we noticed the rescue team truck. We weren't really sure what was going on, and then one of the rangers mentioned what was up, and he showed us the two manatees that were being released, Ferret and Finch, came from Miami Sea Aquarium, and that's when they started unloading them from the back of the truck. They had both of them in. They were going to unload them one at a time. After they unloaded them, that's when they measured them, took photographs all the way around, noting any scars or anything like that, so that they would have a record of what they looked like when they were released. So if something happened or someone saw them and got a photograph of them later, those identifying marks can be referenced so they know which manatee it was. As they're releasing them, they are putting tags on them, which are GPS and radio collared, so that it actually goes on their tail, not a collar. But that's how they're able to track them for, I'm assuming the first few months at least. They released them in this area due to the warm spring, and there was some cooler weather going on. So with the cooler weather, they would stay in the spring for several days with the hopes of them remembering where the spring was, spending a few days there, and then when they swim off and next cold spell, they would come back to this spring to keep from having the drastic effects from the cold weather. And here they are unloading. This is the first one. And it was a spectacular team of individuals that assisted in this whole operation.
These two manatees here, they were rescued back March of 2021, and they have been in the Miami Sea Aquarium for the rehabilitation. So some of these team members are from the Miami Sea Aquarium, and then the rest, I think there's two different agencies here. There's the rangers with the park, and then there's also a manatee rescue organization there helping also. So this comes with a lot of help, and it's under a lot of specialized people who know what they're doing.
They did not advertise that they were releasing all these manatees, which this particular day they released 12 manatees, which is a record for the amount of manatees that were released. And they came from all over Florida, of different rehab stations, where some of them had frostbite and just emaciated due to malnutrition and hit by boats and et cetera, et cetera. Now this is where they're unloading the second one. The first one is over on the mat, and they're spraying water on them and whatnot just to keep them cool until they get them in the water. I mean, it did not take them long to do everything with the team they had. So they really worked well together.
I think that Fish and Wildlife Conservation, I believe, is what's on the back of her shirt. And then they're bringing our first manatee down the stairs, and they will put him in the water, and then he just swims off really nice and slow.
And you'll see in the video when he swims off, you'll see it looks like a white buoy following him. That is, they have it strapped to his tail, and each buoy has different paint markings on the top of it. So if they get a picture of it or through a pair of binoculars, just the way the paint is, they can identify it that way as well. This next clip is the same reliefs. It's just from a different vantage point with it using a different camera. So you get a different view of how they're doing it all.
That could be Jacqueline. Okay, I'm going to focus on the water.
Now this here is the release of the second manatee, and they're going through the same process. They just have a team that is lifting and carrying it down. It was kind of funny, on the first one it was an all-female team, and now they have some guys on this team. But the women definitely let everybody know that that first one was a female team that released that manatee. And this is the second one again, and again with just a different angle of the release.
Come on, you're missing the relief. Oh my gosh, there it is.
And you can see the white buoy right there. That's where his tracking device. Now the tail end of this, we're walking through the Blue Springs, and we're following the spring up, and there's an alligator there. We didn't get a real good shot of him, but he is there, laying on that log, going into the water.
Now the manatees do not have a natural enemy, really. They can swim with the alligators, and the alligators do not seem to bother them.
They will literally go nose to nose, and the alligators will not bother them at all.
And here, this is a manatee who was released earlier, and he or she has already made it up the spring a pretty good ways, and we just found them on our walk down the boardwalk.
These are pictures of a couple of them that were just swimming by. It was a mother and a baby, and then another one. And you can see these are not the ones that were released. They do not have the tracking device, or one of them did, but the other two do not, the mother and the baby.
Bye.